Hello everyone. Today we actually had a lot of stories and I am going to do the same thing. If you were expecting a TEDx talk with clear answers, inspirational quotes, or 5-step formula of happiness, I have bad news. I have something else, and it's a story. Not just a story, but your story. And whether you know it or not, you have been writing it your whole life. With every stupid moment that you achieved, that you reached, with every good event that happened to you, it's everything part of your personal narrative. So, today I'm gonna talk about us living our lives and looking at them as stories. How does it actually work? Let me say you that. It's always the event that happens and us telling this event in some kind of way. Surely, when we tell the event, nothing changes. The event stays the same, but the way you tell it changes the meaning, and the meaning changes everything. So, before we start to look at the stories, I want to show you how to interpret them, because story is something abstractive. We cannot look at it as a graph or something like that, but actually we can. There is a way. This method was introduced by one really astonishing writer. His name is Kurt Vonnegut. He developed this method at the University of Chicago in 1946. He is actually a great writer that I really respect, and he believed that we could learn a lot about society from its stories. So let's look at it. This is a graph that shows us the first type of a story, that is called Man in the Hole. Man gets into trouble, then gets out of it. Pretty simple and loved by many. You have a lot of the stories like that, like rich people achieving their success by falling into the down pits of their lives. The second one is round bun story. We all know the story, right? The round bun escaped being eaten. He escaped animals fluctuating with life and finally reaches the fox and being eaten. That's the end. Oh, and the last one is the story about the Beauty and the Beast. The girl is attacked by wolves, being rescued by a monster, then actually falls in love with it. Villagers came, attack and kill the monster, but in the end, he survives and turns into the prince. Happy ending. So, what is actually a story of our life? How does it look like? Does it look like the fluctuating line or something else? Actually, it looks a little bit different. Our story, our own life, looks nothing more than just a line. It's just a straight line on the graph axis. Why? Because while we are living our life, we don't know how it looks like. Every event that might seem pretty stupid or might seem good, after one day can change its meaning and become something bad for us. So there was actually one really interesting thing that I want to say you about. Let's imagine something happened to you. What is the way that you tell it to yourself? You can tell it in any genre, and that's the point. That's a very interesting thing about our life, about our interpretation. And interpretation is actually the very great skill of our mind. One of the most important, actually. Let's imagine something happened to you, like bad or good. You fail an exam, or someone broke your heart. What is the story that you tell to yourself? Is it something like, I always mess things up, that's just actual me, common me? Or is it, I think that it's part of my story. It's part of the story that actually develops me and helps me to achieve something more. Even it stays the same, but the story that you tell to yourself, it changes the meaning, and the meaning, it changes everything. So, actually, I want to tell you one little story about myself. It happened to me yesterday. 3 days, last 3 days, we were actually on a game jam with my friends. It's kind of thing that I can tell you about and show you how it works. We were on a game jam and we lost. Yeah, that's the first way of telling the story. Pretty bad for us, not interesting, but there is one another way. We were on our first game jam with my team, and we were studying, we were learning for 10 days. We actually had no experience at all. And we didn't just lose, we didn't just fail it, we actually gained an experience. We found a lot of new friends, we found a lot of new people who we can talk to, we found a lot of stuff about ourselves. We spent 48 hours without sleeping, but we actually made something really cool. And I'm really proud of my team. I'm really proud of these guys because they did their best. They were proud of themselves too, and we actually weren't really sad. That's the second type of telling the story. Can you see? It changed everything. The meaning changes everything. So the other thing that I want to talk about is Viktor Frankl. You can see his quote on the screen. Those who have a why to live can be with any how. How is it related to us? Well, Viktor Frankl had a book that is called A Man in the Search for Meaning. He told about his experience during the Second World War in a Nazi camps where people were actually suffering a lot of stuff. Most of them were dying, but he actually recognized one really interesting thing. People who had meaning, who had purpose to live, who had something that is waiting for them, like their relatives or some kind of purpose in their life. They were more likely to survive. Can you see the connection? The way you think about your life, the way how you tell it is actually really important because it can change how you interpret everything around you and can change your survival rating. Well, what is more, this person also taught about modern society. He taught that people nowadays, in modern society, in modern days, they are more likely to have absolutely no purpose to live. They have only two things that they live for. The first one is called conformism, that stands for living and doing everything that everybody else wants. And one really interesting name, totalitarianism. That's doing something that someone in power wants. And I want to really talk about how this works. You know, from the very beginning of our existence, we human beings, we tend to think that we love to think that there is something in power that controls our lives, our story, like God, Buddha, the universe itself, the quantum fluctuations in the space. You can call it like anything. And there is one thing that I want you to think about. What if you are the narrator? What if you are the pen? You are writing your own story. You are living your life and you are someone who is in control. You can control everything that happens to you, not the events, but what they mean to you. You can control how you interpret them. There's another story that I want to tell you. Most of you probably know this person who I'm going to talk about. This is a story about a little guy who lived in Italy. He lived with his father, with his grandfather, and his father was a notary. This little guy had pretty already made up story for himself. Just grow up, study law, sign papers, and live happily. But this little guy, he had another plans. One day, he went to his father's office, grabbed a few sheets of paper. Paper was a luxury at the time, by the way. And he ran into the forest. And he started to draw. Draw everything that he sees. Trees, wings, flowers, and birds, everything. And his father recognized it. He understood that his little guy actually loves drawing. He sent him to the art school. This little guy could stop at this point and actually he live his life happily with this. Become an artist and make money, live. But this little guy, he was a little bit different. He thought different. He understood, he were understanding that it's not something that he wants to do his whole life. He understood that he is someone in power who can change his life himself. When he was given a task to draw an angel in his art school, he didn't just draw an angel. He started to think, how would this angel actually fly in real life? And he started to learn mechanics. After that, he started to learn astronomy and anatomy, everything that he wanted. This little guy was Leonardo da Vinci. All of you know him. He's a great person who didn't think about his life as someone static. He didn't think that someone controlled his destiny. He was someone who controls it. He was the pen, and he was the narrator. And there is one interesting experiment that was held in New Zealand. 263 adolescents from Maori, Chinese, and European backgrounds were taken, and they were asked to tell some kind of event from their lives that happened to them. And there is one really interesting connection about how they tell what happened to them and what they actually felt. Scientists understood that background, your personal narrative, is really highly important and highly connected to how well you're doing. There is one last thing that I want to show you, that I want you to think about. Before I show it, I want you to think about your life, about our planet. This is a whole damn crap. It's an astonishing, great giant rock on the space that is flying, and that actually suffocated hundreds, thousands of wars, that suffocated crimes, deaths of billions of people for nothing. And that's the first way of interpreting this story. And the second one, look at that. That's the Earth from 6 billion kilometers away. This picture was taken by Voyager 1 in 1970s or 80s. And this picture represents our Earth, a little dot, a pixel on a screen. And what is inside of that pixel? The second type of story. Everything that you love, everyone that you live with, everyone that you know, hate, every moment of your life, every stupid thing that happened to you, every great thing that happened to you. Can you see the difference? It's always the same thing that happens. Events stay the same, but the way you tell the story, the channel that you choose, it actually changes everything. Thank you.